Mahendra, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, Nagaraj.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, please. One more participant has to join. Yes, Ashraf has not joined yet. One minute, just give me 1 minute, please. Yeah, Ashraf is also joining short while. We'll continue the session. So when you execute an attribute view, it basically executes on a join engine. Now let us see the analytic view. If you expand the analytic view, let me data preview. Click raw data. So we see the data. Click show log. Double click on generate SQL. Copy the search statement. Right click on the instance. SQL console. Right click. Format. Right click, click visualize plan, click execute, click on the timeline, expand column search, expand calculation search, and the analytical search. Now here it executes both the attribute views. Please see. Again it executes the attribute views. T005T, 5U, TVKO, all these are tables are parallelly processed. And here if you see the view, if you see the view over here, and when you click on the logical join, now here if you expand the attribute view, here we have the calculated column, right? So because you have the calculated column here, it also utilizes the C engine, calculation engine. So if you take the click show log, if you click show log, and if you take the column view, so this is the column view. If you copy the column view, close and close, if you go to the sys_bic schema, expand catalog, expand sys_bic, and if you right click on the column view, filter, click paste, click OK. If you double click on the, here we have two views generated. If you double click on the calculation view, here you see the 30th column, which is full name, and this is processed on the calculation column. If you double click on the analytic view, here it doesn't process the calculated column which is derived from the attribute view. So whenever you use a calculated columns that are used inside the attribute view, if you use that attribute view inside the analytic view, automatically it creates a calculation view. So there are two things here. You have to note that calculated attributes inside the analytic view or currency conversions, unit of measure conversions executes on the C engine. So that is the reason, even though we use analytic view, it executes on the OLAP engine, but first the sub execution, if you see the sub execution and the timeline, the sub execution executes on the analytic search. So you see the BW here. which is the OLAP engine. So it does an analytical search, it does OLAP, and then the full name, which is a calculated attribute, is processed in the C engine. So in this diagram, the attribute views are used inside the analytic view, but they don't execute on the J engine. Instead, they execute on the OLAP engine. But if you have calculated attribute or unit of measure conversions or currency translation, this executes on the C engine. Next, we go to the calculation view. There are three subcategories inside the calculation view. One is called cube. The second one is called as cube with star join. Third one is called as dimension modeling. First one is cube with star join, dimension modeling. Then you use cube. It means that you can take data sources. It can be attribute view, it can be analytic view, it can be a calculation view, or it can be a table. When you use calculation view of type cube, these can be your data sources in the calculation view. Still, Ashfaq has not joined. Yes. Okay. So let us see the second one. What is cube with star join? Yesterday we discussed a scenario in a calculation view. You could take several fact tables. In the analytic view, you could take a single fact table. What does that mean? When you take stars join, nothing but, you see here we say star join. A star join is nothing but a star schema. A star schema executing on the C engine is qubit star join, or a star schema with multiple fact tables. More than one fact table, because there is a limitation to model in the analytic view to request measures from more than one fact table. We can create a calculation view qubit star join. When you use qubit star join as a data model, the data sources that are allowed are calculation views and tables. The limitation is we cannot use attribute views, or we cannot use analytic views as data sources for the qubit star join. Then if we cannot use attribute views to provide the master data for calculation view, then how do we do the dimension modeling? And that is why we have the third one, which is a dimension modeling, where you can create a calculation view. Nothing but this is called a calculation view of type dimension. This is mainly for master data modeling. And this is to create a star schema. And this is to have, you can use data sources like attribute views, analytic views, calculation views as data sources. So I'll draw a simple diagram to make it more understandable. So this is data category. Okay, first I will show you this calculation view. The topic is calculation view, but before we see the engines for calculation view, I would like to complete this topic and then we will go back to the engines. Go to HANA Studio. So I click on the package, click new, click calculation view. In the calculation view, we have different data category. One is the attribute view, analytic view, and the calculation view. So now we select calculation view. Subtype, there are two. One is a graphical view, the other one is a scripted view. Now graphical view, data category, cube, cube with star join, and dimension modeling. Now let us give a name for this. So first I am creating a calculation view of type cube. Let us give the name CV underscore actual underscore plan underscore COPA data. When I click finish, now here you see join, union, projection, aggregation. What is a join? Join, union, projection, aggregation. Join, union, projection, aggregation. What is a join? Join is a query based on a condition. Union, combining two or more data sources. Projection, selection of columns or to filter the data. Aggregation, how you would like to summarize the measures. Either you can use max, mini, count, average, summation. So based on your scenario, you can select any of these operators. So all the operators are used in the data category calculation view data category cube, and you could also use all the data sources. It allows all the data sources. Now let us create one scenario based on this. Yesterday we created two analytic views. These are the two analytic views. Now based on these two analytic views, we would like to union. We would like to union both actual data and planned data Now this is the calculation view. This is data source 1, data source 2, which are analytic views, and I am taking both these data sources in the calculation view of data category cube. As we just discussed, data category cube allows all these data sources. So I taken the attribute view. I taken the analytic view. You see, this is the data source, two data sources, and I'm using the operator union to combine the results of both the analytic views. The same scenario cannot be modeled in the same way. It cannot be modeled in the data category star join. It cannot be done here. So let us create this scenario now. But before that, let me check. The analytic view over here is not active. There's some issue is there with this analytic view. Oh, okay, because yesterday I changed this analytic view to C to IDA, because we were trying to see at the last, we are trying to see this scenario. Let me remove this. Now we have both the analytic views ready for the model, and also we have the calculation view that we created data category of type cube. So now data category of type cube, click on projection. Let us take two projections. Now first of all, what is the use of projection? As we just discussed, projection is a selection of columns. You can do selection of columns or filter the data. Select analytic view 1 for actual data. Drag and drop. AN COPA plan data. Drag and drop. I right click on the projection 1, rename. I would rename this to actual and click OK. Right click, rename, plan and click OK. Now in the projection 1, what would be my selected columns? So I would like to take, actual. So first let us do for actual. So here I would like to select VV070, view KRS, view text, VKORG, LText, land1, landex, regio, BJDI, and I would like to take year, month. So selection of columns. I can also take union. Basically, if I don't take projection, what happen? Click union. I can actually drag and drop the projection, analytic view directly in the union itself. I don't have to take projection. But if I take like this, all the columns are available for output. You see, all the columns are available for, which I do not want like this. I wanted to have only the selected columns. So the union is empty here. Now when I link the actual projection to the union, I only get the selected columns. So let me arrange the order. Okay. So in a similar fashion, I would like to go to the plan analytic view and select VV070, company code BKYG, land 1, DGO, year, month. I link the plan with the union. Now in the union, we have the incoming data set from both actual projection and plan projection. Now let us select the columns, right click, add to target, and in order to map to target, right click on BUKRS. You can manually map. Right click, map to target, click create, or because if you have lot of columns, then what? It is not possible to map all columns individually. So I remove mapping. So here you have an option called auto map. So it checks for the technical names and do auto map here. Once I click auto map, once I select the columns, now here once I select the columns over here, now each column will have two mapping. This has only one. BUKRS has two. Month has two. Year has two. All of them has two mapping except for VV070. The reason they did not map because the technical names are not same. So what we can do, remove target, either you can just select this, drag and drop this way, or the other way is right click on VV070, map to target, and click create. The mapping will get created. You can move to the top if you want to change the order. So now we are doing union, combining two or more data sources to one target structure. And this target structure, we move on to the aggregation. Click auto arrange. Once you click auto arrange, click aggregation. Here you see the selected columns of the union. The output columns of the union. The output columns of the union, you can see the aggregation. Now I would select the required columns to the output from the aggregation. Whatever columns are required further processing, and I right click on the measure, add as an aggregated column, because I would like to have the summation type for the measure as sum. We select this column, come little down. The aggregation type for this is sum, max, mini and count. I've taken sum. Click semantics. Click validate, save and validate, and finally save and activate. Once we save and activate, the calculation view is generated of type cube. Right click on the calculation view, data preview. At the data preview, we see VV010, and let us see based on company code. Now it is actually doing combining of data, but how do we know what record is coming from what view? Because we are not able to differentiate what is the actual data and what is the plant data over here. Now if I go to the actual COPA data, if I data preview on this, doing this for some time. We drag and drop the company code and let us see the value for VV070. For the company code 1000, this is what the value we have. This is for actual data. You right click on the analytic view for plan, data preview, drag and drop the company code, select VV070, VV07 0001, click table, and for company code 1000, this is the value we have. So total of this, if we see the calculation view, is this a calculation view? Yes, this is a calculation view. Please see the calculation view. It's getting 234. Maybe 070. This I'm checking on the summation. I'm just checking whether it is showing the wrong value or the correct value. So here if you see the combined result of the analytic view of both actual and plan gives the same value as the calculation view. Now how do we differentiate from 1000 company code whether the data is actual or plan? So in this case we can use something called union with constant values. If you click on create target, here you can see, say you can create a special something called indicator. Using an indicator you can mention that this particular value is actual or planned data. Click OK. Once you provide the indicator, right click on the indicator, manage mapping, and in the actual give the constant value actual, the plan, give the constant value as plan and click OK. So this particular indicator, this is also called as union with constant value. Also called as union with constant value. So the data coming from this actual projection, for every row it will indicate it is an actual. For every row coming from plan, it will indicate as plan. So I click on the indicator and click propagate to semantics. So once you click propagate to semantics and click OK, then that's available on the indicator is available on here. Click validate, save and activate. Right click on the calculation view, data preview, drag and drop VV070, and let me repeating the same scenario again. Drag and drop the company code. Now for the 1000 company code, now in order to differentiate this value, I drag and drop the indicator column. Now in the indicator column, if I filter on the company code 1000, click toggle advanced filtering. Now if I drag and drop BUKRS, and if I filter on the 1000, click OK. So here it would show you what is coming from the actual COPA data and what's coming from the plan COPA data. If you go to the chart, and here is the percentage between actual and plan. If you have any doubts, please let me know until here.
Yes, Narajna.
Yes, please, Mahinder.
Hello.
Yeah, Mahinder.
Yeah, just I have a doubt here.
Yes, please, Mahinder.
Because we have mapped VV07001 to VV0701, which is actual value. Instead of that, why don't we take one more extra column, which is from planned analytical view, which is VV07001 directly as one of the output column.
Sorry, Mahinder, I did not get you.
Yeah, here for this VV070 we have two mappings, right? One is from actual and then one is from planned.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, instead of what I'm saying is, why don't we use one more column which is from planned actual plan analytical view, which is VV07001, so that it will give one more column and which will differentiate the values both actual and plan.
But performance-wise, this is better than doing actually having two columns. So union with constant values have the better performance than having two columns as a separate columns.
Okay. So that means we can use in that way as well, right?
Yeah, you can use Mahinder. For example, let me show you. Paste and OK. Already exists. Okay, let me take one. Mahendra, you are SD consultant or you are from
No,
non-SAP
I'm
or
portal consultant.
portal consultant? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Like this, you can map. You can have separate columns. So we'll remove the indicator. Not necessary. But here I'll just change the names. So you can say actual sales reduction, planned sales reduction, because to differentiate both of them. Click semantics, and here you have actual sales reduction and planned sales reduction. Click validate, save and activate. Right click, data preview, view KRS, actual and plan. You can do this as well, Mahendra. So for company code 1000, but here it is displayed in two columns.
Yeah, fine.
Nagarjun, in this case, if we drag these two separate measures, then a union doesn't play any role, right? It's again going to be a normal report with no union function.
It's something like union means we are combining the both actual and plan. See, there should be some place where you want to combine the. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, please carry on.
You want to
Here,
say?
Nagarjuna,
Yes, please. Yeah, Mahendra, please go ahead.
yeah,
Hello?
Nagarjuna, I think here the union will work. Union will work for all attributes instead of measures, right?
Now that's what I was actually trying to explain.
Okay.
So basically, you're having two data sources. One is actual and plan. So in here, when I actually double click on this, please see. But this, you go to this scenario. I'll tell you a scenario when this scenario is valid to have two columns is now when you wanted to create a calculated column, when you want to have variance. For example, let's say you want to create a calculated column to show the difference between create decimal. So in this scenario it is valid. You're only showing variance but not showing the actual and plan. Alright?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, now, so let us go to the calculation view. Now until now we have seen a calculation view of type cube. We have seen a data category of type cube. We have other two data categories as well. But before that, let me show you when you use the data sources, analytical views for calculation views of type cube, what engine it executes on. So if I right click and if I data preview for this, click show log, double click on generate SQL, copy the statement, close and close, right click on the instance, click SQL console, click visualize plan, execute, click on the timeline, expand column search, calculation search, and sub execution. Please see, the sub execution is taking place in the analytical view, the BW engine, and the results are transferred to the calculation engine. Even though it is a calculation view, the sub execution takes place in the BW engine when you use calculation view of type cube. So in the calculation view of type cube, if you have data sources as analytic views, so first it has to process the data and transfer to the CE engine. Now this approach degrades the performance.
Yeah, Nagarjuna. Yeah,
Two
Nagarjuna Mahendra here.
engines have to talk to each other. Hello? Sorry?
Yeah,
Hello.
Nagarjuna Mahendra here.
Yes, please, Mahendra.
Hello.
Yeah, Mahendra, please go ahead.
Technically here the calculation view is not using the OLAP engine directly. I think it's analytical view which is using the OLAP engine, right?
But the view created is a column view of type calculation scenario.
Okay.
So we don't have analytic view created in the calculation view.
No, but we have used the analytical view in that, right?
Yeah, Mahendra, what I'm trying to say, see, when you use attribute view inside analytic view, it did not execute over here, am I right?
Yeah.
It execute on OLAP, only OLAP engine.
Okay.
But as per your statement, you're asking it should have also have executed over here.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not executing over here, you see? The same way,
Okay.
the analytical view, when you use in a calculation view, it will execute here. But still it is a calculation view. It's not analytic view.
Okay. Yeah, bit confusing here for me. Why it is not executing on join engine in case of analytical view?
That's what I tried to
But
explain.
here why?
That's what I was trying to explain here. Because attribute views are based on entity relationship models. They're just like dimensions over here. And OLAP engine is based on star schema. So when attribute views are used in the analytic view, they are flattened. They're just flattened.
Okay.
So when you create a calculation view and you use, and not all the calculation view, only the calculation view of type cube
Okay.
can use data source, all of this. As I told you, there is a limitation for star join. For the limitation for star join is it can only use data sources, calculation views and tables for a star join. Calculation views and tables can only be used. Analytical views and attribute views cannot be used inside a calculation view of type star join. So,
Okay, for example, if there is a question like where the calculation views will run, in which engine the calculation view will use.
yeah, it is based on case-to-case scenario. It is not like that the calculation view will always run on the calculation engine. There are different scenarios for this. So there are 3 types of scenarios that you see over here.
Okay.
We cannot, I mean, it is not a general statement to say calculation view will only execute on the calculation engine, because calculation view can also be executed on the SQL engine as well.
Okay. And
But
what about this BW engine?
whenever you take a calculation view of type cube, if the data source is an analytic view, the sub-execution will be taking place in the OLAP engine. Even though the calculation view creates a calculation scenario, probably you need to just see, have to cover the entire scenario, then you'll have more understanding, Mahinder.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably right now it will be a little confusing, but once I complete this, the entire thing,
Yeah, fine.
at the end you'll 100% understand everything, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. Please go
Yeah?
ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you come back to the data model, if you right click on the calculation view, please see what I'm trying to explain is when you see data preview for this, click raw data, or data preview for this, click data preview and click raw data. If you see the sys_bic, copy, close and close, you come back, I click on the instance, sorry, expand catalog, expand sys_bic, right click on the column view, click filters, copy paste the view and click OK. Now when you copy paste, now this is 1. So please see, it did not create any analytic view over here. There is no orange color icon. It create a calculation view, only one calculation view. And if you see the create statement, now this is a calculation scenario. But still the execution takes place in the OLAP engine. So that is the nature of the calculation view of type cube. So due to this approach, where the calculation view of type data category cube uses both the engines, there is a performance degradation. That is why SAP from SP7 onwards, they've introduced a new view called calculation view of type star join. So whenever you have, so previously we never had calculation view of type star join because it has to engage 2 engines and it degrades the performance. From SP7 onwards, because when you engage here, you're actually taking one fact table from the analytic view, actual, and the other fact table from the analytic view, plan, and then you're doing union, and you're processing this in the calculation view. SAP came up with a new model, calculation view of type star join, where you can use multiple transaction tables. You see, but there is a limitation for this. The limitation for this is we cannot use attribute views or analytic views as its data sources in the star join. So when you create a calculation view of type star join, now we make it execute on the SQL engine. But for this we have to do different kind of data modeling. The master data is usually provided by the attribute view, but because there is a limitation to use attribute view inside the star join, we have to create a calculation view of type dimension for master data modeling. So if you go to the calculation view, you will see the data category. If you just click on the free space, the column engine, it executes on the calculation engine, but the sub execution is on the OLAP engine, and the data category is of type cube. For the analytic engine, also you see, for the analytic engine, it executes on the OLAP engine. The data category is type cube. But if you see the attribute view, it executes on the join engine. The column engine is the join engine. And there is a special type of calculation view, which is calculation view of type dimension, which we use for master data modeling. So if I continue to create CV underscore customer, now why we are creating this is because the attribute views cannot be used in a calculation view of type star join. That's the limitation. The data category dimension, click finish. Now please see, again this also is a data category dimension. Now what does dimension mean? Even though it is a calculation view, it's a dimension. Means we can model master data, and this master data is provided to the calculation view of type star join, because we cannot use attribute views.
Nagarjuna.
Yes, please. Yes, Mahendra, please go ahead.
Yeah, is there any special case? Is there any special case where we use this calculation view of dimension type?
Yes, because we have to
Because what I'm thinking is this functionality came with SP07. I think which will give less importance to attribute views and analytical views.
Yes,
That is, we can do entire modeling by using only calculation views, right?
that's what I'm trying to say, Mahinder, here.
Okay.
Or you wanted to ask some question?
Why I'm asking is, if we have this facility, what is the importance of attribute views and analytical views?
As I told you, if you have your reporting requirement based on single table, go for analytic view. If you want to have more than one fact table, go for a calculation view of type star join.
Okay.
That is the scenario.
Okay.
Because always the report will not access from multiple fact tables. So that is the reason in the definition of the definition itself, we say single fact table and several fact tables. The several fact tables go for calculation view of type star join. Single fact tables go for analytic view. So attribute views act as a dimension in the analytic view, and calculation view of type dimension act as a dimensions which provide master data for calculation view of type star join. I think to explain this scenario it will take some more time, so probably we'll see in the next week class. We'll start with the calculation view of type star join in the next week class. But if you have any questions on this, please go ahead.
Nagarjun.
Yes,
So
please.
for qubit star join, only attribute views cannot be used, right?
We cannot use
Analytical view.
No, we cannot use
be
that.
used.
That's the limitation here. Please see, both we cannot use.
Okay, both attribute views and analytical views cannot be used in qubit star join.
Exactly.
So
Not
then
qubit star join. Calculation view of type star join.
yeah, that's what calculation view of star join. So if both the views are not there, what would be there in that calculation view?
If both the views are not there, to provide master data, we have calculation view of type dimensions. To model star schema, we have calculation view of type star schema or star join. That's what we have here. This is what we will do. For master data modeling, we use this, and this is the replacement for the attribute views, and this is the replacement for the analytic views.
Okay.
Nagarjuna,
Yes, Mahinder. Please go ahead.
a performance wise, which is the better one? Is it the analytical view or calculation view?
We cannot tell like that, Mahinder, because there are different use cases. We cannot compare oranges with apples. What I'm trying to say, when you have a single fact table, go for analytic view. When you have multiple fact table, go for a calculation view of type star join. We cannot compare. Both are necessary. It's not that we cannot compare analytic views and attribute views, but rather you can compare a calculation view executing on a CE engine and a calculation view executing on a SQL engine.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is, if you have a single fact table where your report is based on, say, you want to access measures from sales orders, only from single table, you want to get what is the quantity ordered by the customer. But if you ask me a question that is based on ordered quantity, billed quantity and delivered quantity, we cannot do here, because yesterday we saw there was an error over here. At the end of the session, I was trying to show you, when you access two tables and when you request measures, then there is an error already. It says no central table defined, cannot get measures from two fact tables. Am I right, Mahinder? So that is the reason we go for calculation view of type star join, because this is used in a different scenario and this can be used in a different scenario.
Okay.
But if you ask me which is better on the performance wise, whether a calculation view of type cube is better or a calculation view of type star join is better, then I would recommend go for a star join.
Okay.
Because here it has to talk to two engines, but here it takes the advantage of executing in the SQL engine, where it has the almost 10x performance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
I'm just stopping it early because some were not able to even start the practice on the system. I'm just stopping it early. So probably try to practice as much as possible. If you have any questions, any doubts, always send an email to nagarjuna.k@gmail.com. Okay, Zubair?
Nagarjuna, hello.
Yes, Mahinder, please go ahead.
Yeah, do you have any kind of practice examples book?
Like practice examples
Which
books in the sense?
means kind of workbook which you prepared for the practice sessions.
They are already there in the standard SAP material. You can go to the SAP standard material. There are a lot of exercises. There are almost you can find 40 exercises over there. Please go through this material.
That means we'll follow the same thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Zubair?
Yes, sir.
Hope you will do practice this week
Yes, sir.
and catch up next week.
Yes, I for sure.
Okay. And Ashfaq also is not in class today. I don't know what happened. but I got call from the office that was about to join the link, but he did not join. And okay, then have a great weekend. See you next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.